Okay, this is going to be part, I think, number 12 of Quotes of Ayn Rand. I got a lot of Ayn Rand quotes, okay? I read a bunch of her books. They're really good. Okay, now this is from Return of the Primitive. It's an essay about how to educate children. She called it Compra Chicos, which meant, what it's really about is making children stupid, okay? What she specifically says is that the school system is designed to make children stupid. And she's absolutely right. But what's brilliant about it is she explains how they make children stupid on purpose. Here we go. She says the purpose of nursery schools and grade schools and high schools is social adjustment, not education. The purposeful, disciplined use of his intelligence is the highest possible achievement for man. It is that which makes him human. The higher the skill, the earlier in life its learning should be started. A small child is mildly curious about, but not really interested in children of his own age. He is not seeking equals, but cognitive superiors, people who know. Preschool is unnatural. It is unnatural for a young child to be around so many same-age children. A 3-year-old delivered into the power of a pack of other 3-year-olds is worse off than a fox delivered to a pack of hounds. The fox at least is free to run. The 3-year-old is expected to court the hounds and to seek their love while they tear him to pieces. After a while, he adjusts. He learns not to question the supremacy of the pack. He learns that if the pack disapproves, he is wrong and his desire is frustrated. If the pack approves, then anything goes. Okay, so she's absolutely right. It's normal for a young child to be around their family, around their mother, and their older siblings, people who can actually teach them something, can talk to them, can say something useful, teach them something useful. Once you're around everybody your own age, you're all equally ignorant, and nobody can help each other, and it becomes a social contest rather than a learning experience. And here's the next thing she says. Thus, the child's embryo of his concept of morality shrivels before it is born. He learns that it is no use starting any lengthy project on his own, such as building a castle out of boxes, because it will be taken over and destroyed by others. He learns that anything he wants must be grabbed today, since there is no way of telling what the pack will decide tomorrow. He learns to hide his feelings, to simulate them. He cannot know by what imperceptible steps he too has become a phony. The pack now stands between him and reality, and the will of the pack is the dominant power. He is adjusted. Okay, so what she basically says is he can't think, he can't learn, he can't do anything. All he has to do is make sure he gets along with the pack so they don't beat the crap out of him. And she's right. She says, in order to learn, a child needs periods of privacy so he can learn to think. In the nursery school, Montessori environment, he has acquired no incentive, no motive to develop his intellect. Of what importance can reality be to him if his fate is dependent on the pack? It's the little misfits who have the best chance to recover, the children who do not conform, the children who endure 3 years of agonizing misery, loneliness, confusion, abuse by teachers and their peers, but who remain aloof and withdrawn, with the feeling that there is something wrong in the nursery school. Nature has given him an emotional warning. He does not like himself when he engages in it. Okay, and just so you know, I'm going to just say my experience when I was in Montessori. The first Montessori I went to, I absolutely hated it, and I grabbed the edge of the carpet. There was a circular carpet on the floor in the middle of the room, and I rolled myself inside the carpet, and I refused to come out. And the teachers were asking me to come out. I refused. I said, call my mother, and they called my mom. My mom came me up, took me out of that school. I never went back there. Then they put me in another Montessori, and I didn't like that one either. I was running around. I bumped into a teacher, and she spilled coffee on me. My parents had to come get me and take me home. I hated it, and I didn't last long there either. Then I told you in 3rd grade, I do the homework in 5 minutes, and then I would be the class clown, trying to make my friends laugh. In-school suspension for the entire 3rd and 4th grade year. Miserable. I sit in the detention hall every day. I read all the books, so they let me go to the library, though. I read tons of books. So what I'm trying to say is I think part of how I came out of grade school, it would have been a lot worse. It was actually good that I was alone, suspended by myself. I had a lot of time to think and reflect. So I didn't just get all the stupid nonsense of the public schools. Okay, now she talks about John Dewey. John Dewey's like the devil, okay, in the education world. He is the father of modern education, including the progressive nursery schools. John Dewey, and Ayn Rand hates him because he intentionally designed the schools to make it so that you have to adjust to the pack, to decrease the child's ability to think, to make them conformist, basically to train them like dumb animals. That's the purpose of John Dewey's system, okay? So she continues. Education by memorizing without understanding, that is the way animals are trained. Humans should be educated by learning to understand things. The predominance of memorizing is proper only for the first few years of a child's education while he is observing and gathering perceptual material. From the time he reaches the conceptual level, in other words, the time he learns to speak, his education requires a progressively larger amount of understanding and progressively less time spent memorizing. The look-say method of teaching reading has led to a reading neurosis that did not exist prior to the introduction of look-say method. Yeah, what she's talking about is the look-say method for instead of phonics. Phonics is where you sound out the word. That's good. That's how you should teach reading. Whereas this look-say is you sort of guess the sound of it. That creates tremendously high rates of dyslexia. And they do it on purpose. They want to create dyslexia. The educational system is not designed to help children. It's designed to hurt them, to make them conformist and stupid and to waste their time. Okay? So she says the ultimate result of the look-say method for teaching reading is a bunch of half-illiterate college freshmen who are unable to read a book. Knowledge acquired by memorization alone cannot be retained beyond the next exam, and sometimes not even that long. Okay, and that's one thing I noticed. Like I said, I've asked hundreds of young people, what do you remember from grade school and high school? And they will all tell you, nothing. Driver's ed, maybe one or two teachers that were nice to them. And that's about it. And how to type, that's it. Typing in driver's ed, you remember it because you use those things. Everything else, you forget it because it's memorization with no meaning, no concept, no usefulness. So your brain says this is irrelevant and it forgets it immediately. And that's why what school basically does is it wastes your time for 12 years, all through grade school, high school, and preschool, so that you come out of it just conformist dope who doesn't know anything. And that's what they want. Stupid, easy to control, docile people. Okay. She says, knowledge acquired by memorization alone cannot be retained beyond the next exam, and sometimes not even that long. This combination of grouping children by the same age to foster a pack mentality and conformism, as well as the teaching them of memorization of disconnected facts, this destroys individuality. This turns children into stale little conformists. That's the goal of it, to make people ignorant and stupid and conformist. A thinking child cannot conform. A thinking child does not bow to authority. A thought does not bow to authority. Learning is a conceptual process. An educational method devised to ignore, bypass, or contradict the requirements of conceptual development cannot arouse any interest in learning. She says, the socially adjusted children, they are bored because they're unable to learn anything. The independent-minded children are bored because they seek knowledge and not these games of class projects and group discussions. The first are unable to digest the lessons. The second are starved for learning. Okay? Either way, the school has succeeded. The independent children who resist the conditioning and preserve some part of their rationality are predominantly shunted or self-exiled into the physical sciences and the allied professions, away from social, philosophical, or humanistic concerns. The social fields, and thus society's future, is left to the adjusted, the stunted, the twisted, the mutilated minds that this system was intended to produce. So what is the motive of the people who designed the school system in this way? To rule the people, to control them. They want them to forever be minimum wage peasants. Okay? Man's mind is his basic means of survival and self-protection. Reason is the most selfish human faculty. It has to be used in and by a man's own mind, and its product, which is truth, makes him inflexible, intransigent, impervious to the power of any pack or any ruler. All right, like me. I don't care what the high-fat phonies, the bro science, the functional medicine, supplement sellers, conventional medicine, drug dealers. I don't care what any of them say. When I know I'm right, I know I'm right. And I'm keeping the truth alive, maintaining the tradition of Kempner, Pritikin, McDougall, Esselstyn, Nelson, myself, okay? So, like the Irish monks did, or the great literature of the ancient Greeks and Romans, somebody's got to keep the truth alive. Nobody seems to want to do it hardly because there's no money in it. So I will do it, and I'm doing it. Okay, let us continue. She says, man's mind is his basic means of survival and self-protection. Reason is the most selfish human faculty. It has to be used in and by a man's own mind and its product, truth. Okay, well, let's continue on. Deprived of the ability to reason, men become docile, pliant, impotent chunks of clay to be shaped into any subhuman form and used for any purpose by anyone who wants to bother. If men are to be ruled, then enemy is the reason. If you want to see hatred, look at the writings of Kant, Dewey, Marcuse, and their followers, and you will see pure hatred. Hatred of reason and hatred of everything it implies. Hatred of intelligence, of ability, of achievement, of success, of every bright, happy, benevolent aspect of man. There are graduates now in philosophy who can recite the differences between earlier and later Wittgenstein, but have never had a course in Aristotle. What they are teaching today has no relevance to anything, neither to theory, nor practice, nor reality, nor human life. The conditioning phase of those who have done this, it has been completed. And I can say I'm a perfect example. I'm half Puerto Rican. My mother's from Puerto Rico. Guess what? I sent letters to like hundreds of minority organizations offering to give their students a lecture for free. This is at the high school and the college and the grad school level. Not a single one wanted me to teach their students. Why is that? Because it's not about helping the students. They're about saying, oh, gee, our students are not doing well. It's because of racism. We need more money. Give us more money. They don't give a rat's ass about the students. I could come in and help the students dramatically. I routinely help people dramatically improve their academic performance. They don't want me, okay? And I also saw when I was in school, I got along great with all the other Hispanic students, but that they didn't want me teaching the students. The one old dean guy, the one old black dean, William Wallace, he wanted me to teach the students. He was a good guy. He actually cared about students, but he was a rare bird. The other ones, like in the Spanish Center for Hispanic Excellence, they did not want me teaching for the reasons I just told you. So I was kind of surprised by it, but I've learned that's how it is. Why wouldn't people all over the world be trying to get a hold of me? I'm the smartest Hispanic doctor in the whole world. Not a single one is, nobody, not one person has contacted me about that. Not one. So all this BS, oh, we want DEI, we want diversity, bullshit. I'm the perfect example. If you want Hispanic genius, I'm sitting right here, okay? And what I'm trying to say is they don't want, what they want is affirmative action puppets. They don't want smart people. They don't want competent people. They want puppets. And they also want to push other people out. They want to use that as a way to block other people. And they want puppets. They don't want talent and development of Hispanics or of anybody else. They just want a controlled mediocrity. Okay, Ayn Rand continues. The students' development is arrested. Their minds are set to respond to slogans as animals respond to a trainer's whistle. Their brains are embalmed in the syrup of altruism as an automatic substitute for self-esteem. They would obey anyone. They need a master. They need to be told what to do. They are ready now to be used as cannon fodder. They are a trained pack of freaks, ready to be unleashed against anyone. The most damning refutation of the theories of all the hippie activist Marcusean hordes is the drug-glazed eyes of their members. Men who have found the right way of life, they do not seek to escape from awareness, to obliterate their consciousness and drug themselves out of existence. So that's a good point too. If somebody says, oh, let's get drunk this weekend, let's get stoned this weekend, let's get high this weekend, what they're basically saying is their life is so pathetic and meaningless that they have no goals, that what they want to do is, damage their brain and try to escape from themselves for a while. They're losers, okay? You should avoid people like that.